Hey, this is Alan Covert, also known as Grandma's Boy, and you're listening to Jacked Up with Brent and Jason.
I don't need to need you. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to say. Don't you wanna help me? Tell me what to do. Help me find a way.
And back from break, you are currently locked into Jacked Up Radio, and we are currently on the phone line with Alan Covert, who most people will know from Happy Madison Productions, both through his writing and acting. Great to get you on the horn with us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Well, Alan, before we start, I just wanted to tell you we're currently dealing with two major issues that nearly led to us no-showing. One, I drank aged brandy 4 days ago for the first time in my life. I blacked out and apparently lost a sumo match to my TV stand, and I looked like a Wolverine shanked my rib cage. And on top of that, number two, my co-host Jason sprouted a hemorrhoid 2 days ago the size of a Happy Madison golf ball, but we decided we simply could not miss out on talking to you. How do you feel about that?
Well, the hemorrhoid, let me just say, as an old man with kids these days, I sympathize with you on the hemorrhoid.
It's my first one, by the way.
Well, you know what? As long as it doesn't become a fissure, you're okay.
Oh. Is it crazy that I know what that is?
No.
Okay, so a slightly more serious note. If I'm not mistaken, you're currently on the set for Grown Ups 2?
Yeah, we're, and we literally, we're filming up in Massachusetts, and, you know, there's a lot of kids in the movie, so we have this whole huge sequence that takes place at night, and because of the kids, you can't really do night shoots, so we literally built this giant sound stage, which is kind of like the world's biggest tent. And then all of a sudden today we're in there filming and we start hearing thunder and everyone's like, it's safe. And then everyone's cell phones started getting tornado alerts and you just saw like 200 people panic going, where do we go if we're in a giant tent? But it's crazy. We're filming this crazy go-kart thing, and we're inside this giant thing, and there's go-karts flying around. Hey, you know things are getting a little hairy when stuntmen get scared. Because
absolutely.
At one point during this storm, I looked over and I see we had 15 stunt guys, because there's also a big fight scene, and they were all practicing the fight, and all of a sudden I see these guys who I know get hit by cars for a living, and they're all just kind of going, hey, how do we get out of here?
Oh, man.
So what's the movie wraps? Can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be jumping into next?
Well, you know, since we produce everything, and so we'll be going to the editing room and working on it and getting it all ready, and then trying to find the next script for what we have a couple scripts for Adam that, you know, will be like a big Happy Madison production, and then we have a script, we're working on Nick Swartzen's working on a script for himself, and I think we have a script for Andy Samberg that him and his buddy Yorma, who did all the Lonely Island stuff with him, that they're working on. So, you know, we always try to keep a couple things going and try to keep ourselves busy.
Well, I've got to bring this up. Grandma's Boy is one of me and Jason's favorite movies ever, no joke. It didn't stay in theaters long, but it gained a cult classic status on DVD. So both of us and a crap ton of other people, we gotta ask, I mean, is there going to be a sequel?
Well, I don't know, because, the story was kind of like at the end, he did okay for himself. So, you know, one, would the studio, trust me, the studio made all the money because it's so huge on DVD.
Yeah.
You know, and the way they do things is I'm like, hey, shouldn't we be seeing some money one of these days? We've only sold about 1 billion DVDs. They're like, yeah, still haven't made the money back yet.
Oh,
you know, because once you bomb at the box office, they can claim like, well, you know, we paid for all this and that and that. Wow. But also it's just a matter of like, you know, where will we do? It's like, oh, all of a sudden he loses everything again and has to move back in with Grandma. But, you know, Swartzen and I always talk about it. And because, trust me, everybody in the cast would be in. They've all said, like, Joel Moore, who played JP the Robot Boy, I mean, he went on to co-star in the biggest grossing movie of all time, Avatar. And he still, every time I see him, he's like, seriously, I would do Grandma's Boy 2 for nothing.
Right.
So, everyone would be back in, I think. And you never know. We might come up with a great idea.
Well, hopefully so. Perhaps one day we can get that. But moving on to our final part of the interview, the fan segment where people submit a couple of questions. First of all, True Blue wants to know, have you ever done any roles or scenes that you're not too proud of? Maybe a Dopper commercial, that sort of thing?
No, not really. I mean, I've been lucky that, most of the stuff I do, it's stuff I've done with my friends, and, we usually write it or come up with it ourselves. And so, looking back, I'm always, the way I look at it is, if I was doing something, I got lucky and got the job. So, no, I have nothing I'm ashamed of.
I don't think you should be. I thought we'd throw it out there.
Trust me, I have a few nude scenes where I would laugh, like in Mr. Deeds, where I'm like, all right, it's funny. And I guarantee you there's stuff that eventually my children are going to see that I'm going to be like, all right.
That was literally on TV 2 days ago, and I watched that scene.
Oh, yeah, it's horrifying. It's horrifying, that scene.
Next up, Jordan Wilcox wants to know what kind of advice you have for anyone interested in breaking into Hollywood and acting.
The crazy thing is these days is that there's so much more you can do than you used to be able to. There's, you don't even have to be in Hollywood these days to get going. You can make little movies on your iPhone with your friends and put them on YouTube, and the next thing you know,
Justin Bieber.
You got 10 million people watching it, and someone sees it. We've had a couple kids that we've put in movies. Someone goes, have you seen this guy on YouTube?
Right.
So, but you just got to stick with it. Don't get down. Just, you're going to hear no. Right. You're going to hear a lot of no. And, it's like, who's the guy? I was just reading something the other day. The guy from Harry Potter, and Die Hard, Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
Right.
Alan Rickman never got a part in a movie in his life until he was like 40.
Right.
Now he's living in a castle somewhere.
Well, last question submitted by David Woolman. How did you and Adam Sandler first meet and get to working together?
We actually, a lot of us at Happy Madison, Jack Araputo, who's our other partner, Tim Herlihy, who writes a lot of the scripts, Frank Karachi, who's directed a lot of the movies, we all met at New York University. Adam and them all lived in the same dorm, and I met Adam, actually. I was supposed to take a history class, and instead I took a class called History of Comedy. Mm-hmm. And because I wasn't big on sitting through even though I love history, I wasn't big on sitting through some class about it.
Right.
And so I went, I'm going to take History of Comedy instead. My whoever the guy is, the counselor, was like, yeah, well, that's not going to give you the history credit you need. And I go, yeah, but it'll be fun. And I think my choice worked out better.
Yeah.
Because I went in there and I met Sandler, and here it is 30 years later, and here we're still hanging out and having fun.
Well, that's awesome, man. We're going to let you get back to it. Again, everyone, we've been talking to Alan Covert of Happy Madison Productions. If you're interested in keeping up with him, you can do so by following him on Twitter at @AlanCovert, THAT, Alan Covert, all one word. Thank you for talking to us, man.
Hey, guys, no problem. Thanks a lot.